G'day. If you've got intermittent indicators on one side of your 3rd gen Dodge Ram, if you find you're frequently blowing indicator bulbs and you've tracked your earths, you've checked your bulbs, you've checked your connections, you cannot figure out what the heck's going on, this might be your problem. So I had a problem on the left-hand side of this vehicle at the rear, blowing bulbs, and it also affected the front on occasion too. But on that left-hand side, I was frequently blowing bulbs and just couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. Been right through the system. There's no shorts. It didn't seem to be any shorts. We've got good earths. We've got clean earths. Not poor quality bulbs. We're fitting the bulbs correctly. I even went to LED bulbs, and still it would go. It didn't blow the LED, but on occasion, rather than going tick 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 tick, even with the LEDs in it, it would default to tick 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 to tick, and you know the bulb was fine. You test the bulb's okay, but the indicator wouldn't come on. So I tracked that for a good while and couldn't ever figure out what it was. At the same time, I had this is a 05 truck. It's not a new one, obviously. We're 17 years on from that now. I was noticing that when I had my indicator, when I put my indicators on, it was a bit mushy. It wasn't really giving me a real satisfying click. So I thought, well, I think I probably want to change over my indicator stalk. That's your assembly there. So I just wasn't really satisfied that was, maybe it was in there. I couldn't figure out anything else, but thought that might warrant a changeover anyway. So that's the old part. It's not an expensive part. This is from rockauto.com. It's a standard part, CBS1338. It's a Taiwanese made part, and it just looks exactly like that. To change it over, you take the steering wheel off. You just get access to your bolts through the back of it. One bolt in the center. Take your always disconnect your battery first. Please, watch a separate video for the full detail on this, on how to change a steering wheel over and take your steering wheel off, take the airbag off. It is it's not a risk-free procedure, so please make sure you do it properly. To check your video on that, but take the airbag out, take the wheel's got to come off. There's a keyway for your wheel when you pull it off. Pull that off. You got to take your steering wheel column cover off. You have to take your the little lever over here that moves your steering wheel up and down. In this, there's different ways for different Rams on how to pull that off. Some of them got a screw in there that you've got to undo. In this one, it just pulls off. You just, as long as you get the right direction, you just yank on it, and it'll come straight off. You got it set, and then you can take the covers off, and then you can get access to this. There's some screws in there that have got to come out. And then there's a plug at the back, and you pull that plug out, and then this whole thing will come off as a unit, just as it looks right like that. And it's not a complicated thing. You can do it in minutes, not hours. It's not 5 minutes, but you can do it in minutes. And just plug the new one in. And once it was done, I got a very satisfying click for my indicators, and all my bulbs stopped blowing. So I thought, this seems like a bit of a funny solution to change this over to stop my indicator bulbs from blowing. But it has been almost 9 months now since I did. No, it's more than that. It'll be coming up to a whole year now since I did that. Since I made that change. I've had absolutely no problems with the new indicator stalk. That also controls my windscreen wipers. I've had no problems with that. And I've had not one single blown bulb since I did that changeover. So that was the problem, evidently. I'm not sure how. Worn, there's a short in there somewhere. It was only ever on one side of the car. But if you're just at your wit's end and you can't figure out why your indicator bulbs are blowing, or you've got a mushy feel on your indicators, it's not changing, clicking in as well as you'd like when you've got to turn a corner. It's not a complicated procedure. It's not an expensive part. It's only I think it was only about $25 Australian, and the shipping wasn't expensive. So I think maybe 35 all up or something. I was into it, and problem solved. So if you have that problem, it's not a complicated process to do, and it might be worth doing it. But check everything else first. Like, again, it's Occam's razor here, guys. You want to remove all the simple things first. Like, chances are it's probably an earth, or, you know, is it a bad bulb? Is the bulb is it an old halogen bulb that's been in there for an old filament bulb that's been in there for ages, and it's just worn clean out? Or, you know, did you grab the bulb and you put it in touching the glass with your fingers? And, you know, there's things that you can do to shorten bulb life. But if it's blowing, check your earths, check your wiring, check you got no shorts, check your fuses. If everything seems right and you just can't find a solution, it may be that. In this case, I can say that's definitively what it was, because once we changed that out, all my problems regarding my rear indicators have ceased, and it's been an absolute dream ever since. I mean, these why it did it, I don't know. It could well be that indicator stalk was damaged in the original conversion, because we moved from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, but for whatever reason, that was the culprit. So it's not a complicated part to have. On rockauto.com, they've got a whole bunch of different options. As I said, this is the standard brand indicator switch, and it's worked fine for me for, as I said, we're coming up to a full year now since I did it, given me not a worry in the world, no dramas at all. So if you've got that problem, I hope this fixes your problem, or you find an alternate fix in a bad earth or something that's a really swift fix for you. Thanks for watching.